simultaneous release. God damn! Finally! We've been waiting years for this, years, but it has finally happened. Better late than never. So that's a good saying sometimes, which is true in this case. So yes, as you can see, I'm starting with the new 2027 series. Main booster sets will be simultaneously released in both Japanese and English. This is amazing. It's amazing. I don't care if you're casual, if you're semi-competitive, or like a full-on competitive player. This is great news. Great news. Let me just calm down. Just breathe for a second. I don't want to be too hyped right now. I want to be like a little bit calm. But this is actually amazing. So with this news, as everyone already knows, we're not gonna be able to just read Japanese tops and see, okay, this deck is good, this deck is better than anything else, this deck is kind of mid, Chaos Breaker, for example, is not as good as people expected it to be. And so we now have to shape the meta ourselves. This is so interesting, it's so nice. I saw a tweet from Aris. I'm gonna go through it quickly and talk about my thoughts. It does make some valid points. There is one thing I do not agree with, and we're gonna come to that. So please make sure to watch the video fully. But he does make good points. So upsides with this simultaneous release. We no longer have to wait 2-3 months after JP reveal. Yes, perfect, amazing. There's not really much to say. The fact that we have to wait 2-3 months after JP every single time makes the game not as fun, honestly, because we have a deep enough understanding to know what's really good and what's not. So if you're casual, you don't care, you're gonna play whatever you like. But as a semi-competitive or competitive player, it's not fun, kinda, unless it's a deck you really wanted to play already, because you know what's fun. You have little creative space to find something else that can break that or can be good against that. Sure, it's not dead right now, right? But it's less fun, in my opinion. And then there will be less dead stock for stores, which is also really good. I feel especially for the first set, maybe first few sets, I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna buy more cases, order more cases, order more boxes due to this. At least as a casual, you have everything ready from day one, and you can maybe catch someone off guard with a deck you wouldn't maybe play. It's fun to experiment with new things instead of just having it on paper already for you. So yeah, the upsides are really nice. There's a lot of nice upsides to this simultaneous release. Well, let's see what Aris has to say about the downsides. He says, I don't think it will completely solve the dead stock issue. We might not get results from the JP, but CFA still exists where people can test immediately after reveal. And it only takes people a couple of days to play it and know which decks are good or not. And usually they will give their opinions and inputs about the decks online. So if players caught up to these things, it will help them determine which decks are good or bad. But dead stock issue would be less problem like before. Yes, this is true. And another point that I feel is not brought up here is that if you and your community have a good communication with your stores about how much you want to or are gonna buy, the dead stock issue might not be as relevant. It depends on stores and locations, of course, but I feel if you have a well enough dialogue, you can also solve this issue a little bit, make it easier for the stores to not have to play extra safe and not order, But this is true. Another tricky part is card prices. I think singles will be more expensive. Back then with JP results, stocks are able to determine what cards are good or not. Yeah, and then the vendors determine what prices to play. Yes. However, I think this is actually like an interesting part, because now, for example, vendors just buy a set and be like, okay, this card is like good. This card is obviously gonna be good. We know from JP. So I'm just gonna bump this up like, I don't know, 15, 25 already. But for example, let's say Youth. You know, you guys remember Youth when they first released in JP? The deck wasn't that expensive in set 6, and then they got set 7 with Tempest. You remember what happened? The deck became hella fucking expensive because the deck was really good. And then we got set 6 after that, which made it so that Youth was super duper expensive. Like, it was extremely expensive, because we already knew from JP that it was like one of the best decks, right? And with simultaneous release, that would not be the case. So, for example, let's talk about let's theorize about if this was the Youth situation. I feel like Youth would probably still be like, it wouldn't be cheap, you know, because it was like a fan favorite from set 6. They're like, oh, this is cool, I want to play this, you know. So it will still be like higher demand on that, but it wouldn't be nearly as expensive set 1 compared to how we got it, because we didn't know the deck was gonna be that good in the next set. So I feel like from business perspective, this can be really risky, as I said, like depending on how much stock vendors or stores are willing to buy. But for a second-hand market, I don't think all singles are gonna be just more expensive, because if everyone is hyped for this and are going to want to buy more boxes and cases in the first set, then the cards are gonna be pretty cheap. Remember when Overdress came, the cards were actually like pretty cheap, and then we slowly got to like set 3, set 4, set 5, and the cards started to get gradually more expensive. I think this is gonna be the same thing, but I also believe that some cards that seem good are gonna be a little bit more expensive, but then turn out that, okay, maybe these cards are not that good and they're gonna drop in price. And the other way around, some cards are gonna be like higher up in price because people think those cards are gonna be good. They're gonna drop in price because, well, as the meta has shapen up, yeah, the deck isn't as good as people thought it would be. So there's a lot more like this, more risk to it, but I feel like there's also good things that comes with it. Not necessarily everything's gonna be more expensive. I do not believe. And the last point he makes, which is here I have a lot of differing opinions, but English players don't have privilege anymore from JP results, so there will be less reference on what decks are good or not, and they have to test it by themselves. If you're playing for fun, it wouldn't matter, but if you are competing competitively, then having a good testing circuit or not will have a huge impact on decisions for which decks to bring for tournaments, and hence will affect the result as well. Yes, we do not have the privilege anymore, and yes, you will have to test it by yourself. But if you're competing, then you will, like, if you're competing and you see yourself as a good player, then you will be able to find out and read how the meta is gonna shape up and look like. Like, it's more interesting to not know what is already good or the best. As I said, good players with good playtesting partners, you're still gonna be able to find out what is probably better compared to other people, and you gotta bring those decks to events. Let's say, for example, I have Group A, they test a deck, but they feel like the deck is not good enough, so they write it off. Because, like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't draw enough cards, it can be whatever reason. They write it off. But then you have Group B that brings a variant of the deck. Maybe, like, not the exact same like 50 copies, but they still bring a version of the deck. And they top or win with it. Like, imagine how cool that would be. Like, that is a display of great meta reading and understanding, which shows that they are great players. Not only do they know how to play the deck, they read the meta well, and therefore provided good results. So I feel like with this simultaneous release, it's gonna filter out the average Joes from the better players. Because as I said, we even as I said, we don't have this privilege anymore. Today, most players just, with the privilege from JP, just net deck. They're like, okay, this deck is good. They practice it. They learn the deck well. Of course, you have to learn how to play the deck as well. You can't just bring a deck and just roll with it. You need to know how to play it. But nowadays it's just mostly, okay, net decking, this is good, this is that, and just gonna learn matchups. But being able to figure out the meta by yourself, that in itself is such a huge leap upwards, like in skill. The problem here would be if the set releases like 1 week or the day before an event, right? Because that's too close to an event, and then those results might not be the best in that sense. Like maybe players haven't really understood how to play a deck, or maybe they got cut off with they haven't playtested enough of one matchup specifically, and then it showed up 2 times and they lost and then flunked out of top 8 or top 16, whatever. That can happen, but in general this is just positive. This is like, I don't see this as a negative, honestly, like at all. So I'm just stoked. I'm just really stoked for the simultaneous release. This is gonna be amazing. I'm not really the type of guy to case split or buy boxes, but I feel like I'm gonna try and find some people in my locals, like friends from locals that want to split. Now I'm just happy for it, honestly. Because I've been waiting for this for so long. I like the thing with TCGs in general. I like being creative. I want to find what's good. I want to try stuff. I don't want to have it handed to me like, oh, this is good. Not in the beginning. Like after some time, yes, sure. Like hand me the answers, right? Like the answer sheet. But in the beginning, I want to test it. I want to test for myself. I want to prove that, I want to try and prove that I am good at this game. I am good. So what are your thoughts? Please leave them down in the comments. I haven't talked about the business side. I'm not that well knowledge about it. So if you want to educate me, please go ahead and do that. I'm willing to read. I'm willing to learn. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay positive.